unscripted, off the cuff, no holds barred. We're just going open season today. We believe in all the F words: faith, family, football, and fitness. Check us out on the Richard Neese podcast every Saturday morning on WKUL. Please subscribe. Please help us out by growing the channel. We want to help good people get to a better place. Hey everybody, Richard Neese here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Richard Neese podcast. As always, I'll let him introduce himself. I have
Dominic Gill, former realtor, social media visual
Former
owner.
realtor.
Former realtor this week.
It's like a former Marine.
Former Marine.
I got you.
Except that I don't wear that badge with honor.
I understand. I understand.
Well, there's no such thing as a former Marine, though. You ever try to tell a former Marine they're a former Marine?
You'll be in trouble there.
Yeah,
I think it's the retired. So when they're never retired, they're always former Marines.
Right. But you're always going to hear the quote, once a Marine, always a Marine, and everything. And I'm glad they're proud of it and everything. It was something that I wish I could have related to, but I got rejected from the Marines. I couldn't get in.
I've forgotten about that, Dominic. I've forgotten we had talked about that before. So today, usually we have a script, or not a script. We have questions, topics we're going to go over. Today, it is literally unscripted. I've got Dominic on the hot seat. We don't have a guest today. We had a great guest last week. Today we have Dominic and myself. We're going to be going over, who knows? I mean, we're just going to kind of let it flow. I've got a couple ideas in my head of things I want to talk about.
Oh boy.
But one thing that I thought was interesting, I was watching, or I saw the clips because I shared the clips on Facebook the other day. How do people find us, Dominic? I always forget that part.
Yeah, be sure to find us. If those of you in Radio Land, go look us up on YouTube, on TikTok. I slowed down on the TikTok uploads because I thought TikTok was going away. So I'm like, why waste my time putting on TikTok? It's about to be gone. Well, we're going to start re-uploading on TikTok again.
But soon it'll be half American, right? So
yeah, exactly. At the Rich Neese podcast on YouTube, we would really appreciate if you would like us, follow like the video. Sorry, if you like us too, that's great. But like the video. Please subscribe to the channel and click the bell for notifications. I mean, it helps us out so much, especially when we're trying to grow. We definitely want to go and help more people get to a better place. And if you can help us get more people there, we're hoping to make an impact on society and to help as many people as possible.
Absolutely. So that is our catchphrase or slogan, has been for a long time, but it's really how we live. We want to help good people get to a better place.
Absolutely.
I was actually pretty fired up this week. I've had some ups and downs over the last few weeks. We've had some changes in our office staff and had some extra stressors on us, bookkeeping-wise and tax-wise. It's that time of year. Now, with multiple businesses, it's always a stressor.
Could have timed it better, could they?
It was perfect. It wasn't. I'm going to say it wasn't mutual. How about that?
That makes sense.
So we decided to go a different direction because we were finding some things that weren't done to our standard, and it got me thinking about the standard. What is the standard? And what I find more often than not is, let's say all the time, when something isn't going well in my company, it's always my fault. Jocko Willink talks about that all the time. When you get rid of excuses and stop pointing fingers at somebody else, then you can work on the solution. Stop blaming somebody else. Take complete accountability and say, it's my fault, my problem, and now it's time to fix it. And so what I see oftentimes is I start getting frustrated. I'm like, oh, this person didn't do this. And then I look back and I say, wait a minute, I didn't hold any accountability there. I didn't do what I was supposed to. I didn't lead in the way I was supposed to. I didn't check on things the way I was supposed to do. I didn't motivate the right way. And it makes it easier because then I can just beat myself up and actually take action and do something about it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Weird analogy I could draw into this, but I'm not going to be a nerd right now.
Okay. It might come back around when you want to be a nerd, right? So I was looking at that, but there's also an opportunity. I'll give Brandon Snyder a shout out on this. So Brandon and I talked when I was just starting out in real estate, and I said, hey, Brandon, how do I get to be a big guy like you? How do I grow my business? He's a mortgage broker. He's been in several different companies, been leaders of teams, really a top performer, a great guy. You know him, Dom. And Brandon told me that one of the first things you need to do is you need to write to scale, to grow your business. You write down everything that you do, and then separate those into things that you like to do and things that you don't like to do. And on the column that you don't like to do, you need to automate, delegate, or eliminate. Those are the things that you need to do with it. And I tell the guys that all the time, and then that list gets smaller. Then you also need to look at the other side and say, what things can I do here that I can automate, delegate, or eliminate that don't make me enough money? And you continue to build those lists out enough to where you're doing just the things that you absolutely love. And so essentially what we've done is we found the position or positions that we were trying to, we had to change, restructure. And we said, what are all the things this person did or these people did? Why are we even doing some of that stuff? How can we make this easier? And this is where we've just been digging into the world of AI. So if I have any guys out there that are big on AI, I would love to talk to you about it, how it implements or how you can implement it into your small businesses for tasks that are kind of lower level. I would love to talk to you about it. I'll bring you on the show if you want to. We can just have an offline discussion. We are looking for some consultation on that side on how to be more efficient. I think that's obviously a lot of people think that's a new wave. And that's something I want to look at as how do I apply that to a small business and not just large businesses.
And this is the thing, the CEO of NVIDIA, those of you who are familiar with NVIDIA, they are one of the richest companies in the world. They produce graphics cards for really high power. Basically, if you look at it as a car, a graphics card is the motor, it's the engine, it's the thing that gives it the most.
Yeah.
One of the things that gives the most power. There are other components with it, but in the world of graphics and pure output of power, they're massive, and it's a really, really important component for people out there just to know. He made the statement at some conference a while back. He said, we used to grow up and we used to tell our kids in the last 10 years, you need to learn coding. You need to learn how to go and help the next generation come up so that they can understand computers a lot better, so that they can actually work with computers. He said, that's changed. He said, with AI, computers now speak our language. Computers now can learn the way to do things in our terms. So, and that's what's great about AI. With all the scary thing that's out that you hear about with AI, mainly because honestly, a lot of it has to do with some Hollywood stigmas that are like, oh, AI take over, makes for a great story. There's a lot of great things that could come along with it that can actually help improve the way that we do tasks, make us more efficient. And to be honest with you, it couldn't come at a better time. If you really think about the labor crisis that we're having in the United States,
Absolutely.
I mean, try to hire someone to do anything nowadays. It's nearly impossible. You talk about eliminate and delegate. It's becoming harder and harder to delegate stuff. And sometimes you have to eliminate things just because, there's no one there to delegate to.
Absolutely.
Or you have to take on more tasks as the man in charge. And I'm the person that generally has to take up that role because it's like, man, I can't find somebody who can do this thing that's second nature to me. And there's just no one out there that does it. But then now I can go and plug it into whatever AI program I have. I use quite a few of them in my business. And it gives me the information at a lightning fast speed and a quality that I couldn't pay for. That's better than what most humans can do. Now, you have to go and always, as you're producing content using AI, you always have to go and make sure that it's connected with the human nature, because there are things that artificial intelligence can't replicate, that as human beings, especially certain language that's used in a university level for a professor, the type of language that they speak is closer to what ChatGPT speaks versus me, who's more of a common man.
Yeah, but Dominic, even within that, and I think you probably played with this before, you could literally take stereotypes like, we're from Alabama, right? If you don't know, if you're watching a podcast from somewhere else, we're from Alabama. Mm-hmm. You can literally put it into Southern speech, Southern language. So let's say
it gets exaggeratory.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But I'm saying you always got to have that human element to oversee.
That's right. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And you can, and the cool thing about that, and I'm not an expert on AI, but you can develop that, and you can almost build a relationship where they get to know what you're looking for.
You ever have a therapy session on ChatGPT? It's
fascinating.
I have not. It's fascinating.
I'll tell you, your brother actually told me that you can ask ChatGPT or AI in general what they think about you, and they'll take all the information that you put into it. I didn't do that. I'm a little scared, but he said he tried that.
I've done it. Yeah, no. You can go through and literally, it's. I'm not recommending people use this for legal advice, but stuff that I know, especially in the real estate world, that I know that's factually true, I would ask ChatGPT questions in a sense of kind of like challenging it, and it would spit out the correct answer. Sure. Verbatim, word for word, everything. So I actually would use it in some not as a legal counsel, but as kind of a legal third
Yeah.
eye, second
Sure.
eye to
Yeah.
kind of look over stuff before I go down the other road. And again, it always have the disclosure. Hey,
Right.
please consult with a professional attorney before taking any kind of action. But it was frighteningly accurate
Yeah.
how much it would do on there. So
But it's a great tool. For sure.
It's a tool,
Absolutely.
though. That's the thing about it. That you have to always remember it's a tool.
That's
it's
right.
not anything more than that.
Yeah, right. It's not anything more than that yet. We can go down that rabbit hole. What I was actually getting to when I started, when we were discussing the beginning, which was the social media stuff, I noticed that it seemed like every Monday, which is when we were shooting our videos, I was wearing the same shirt. I don't know if it was because it was cold on those Mondays or what it was, but I was like, why am I always wearing that flannel shirt? And so I made sure, like on this Monday, I made sure I was not wearing that shirt. So today I'm representing First Form in multiple ways. Andy Frisella, hopefully Andy will show us some love. I doubt it, though.
Well, this is hoodie weather for me, so I'm always wearing, I probably have 5 different black hoodies. I'm like, you remember Pee Wee Herman? Mm-hmm. He'd open up his closet and it'd be nothing but the gray suits, exactly. Right. That's how my closet looks like, since it's black
Zuck,
hoodies.
too. You're similar to Zuck, right? Mark Zuckerberg, doesn't he have like the same shirt because he never wants to make a decision on that level?
I did not know that. I believe it because
now that may have changed, but I know that him and Bezos had similar hacks in order to not make decisions because they had so much decision fatigue throughout the day, and so that was something that they did. And I actually used that for quite a while, where I would just have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I wore a shirt and tie back then, but I was consistently wearing those. There's no decision to be made. I'm not as quite of a stickler on that now, but I always think it's important. It's important to look at the way other people's hacks work.
I did not know that. That's new information for me. But I always did notice, like with Gary Vaynerchuk, he's always wearing that same sweater that's rolled up to his.
Well, I'm sure it's not actually the same sweater, but
it seems
that
like
same style.
It looks like the same sweater every time. Actually, sometimes it's the giant striped sweater.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's got.
But with Gary Vee, he makes like 25 pieces of content in one day, and then stretches that stuff out too. So I mean,
that's a very
because
valid
you remember
point.
when we were doing social media days, and we would have 8 pieces of content for each phase.
Oh, and we'd get different shirts.
Well, we did change shirts sometimes, but it wasn't always the case.
Yeah.
And it would be stretched out that way. So that maybe that's it. Maybe it's a little bit of an illusion. I don't know. I'm not quite sure on that. But anyways, I was thinking about, man, I've got to change my shirt. It looks like I wear the same shirt every day or every video, and so I swapped it up a little bit. And then we didn't do it on Monday.
Or you could be like. Funny story. I know we're kind of going all over the place, so here I'm going to go farther down. It's like Bob Ross,
okay.
So Bob Ross went through a phase in his life where he decided he was going to have an afro at the same time that he started his public television program of painting. For those of you who don't know, you get to know Bob Ross. He's therapeutic to watch him to paint with his fluffy little clouds, his happy trees. Anyways. So that was just a stylistic phase he was going through.
Sure.
And as he got older, because he did the show for like 30 years, they asked him, you're like, so, the afro, did you ever get tired of it? He says, I hate the afro. he said, but it's me now. He's like,
exactly.
I can never get rid of it. It's there forever because that's who he was. So
sure.
And he didn't like it. Well, I don't know if he said the word hated it, but he basically said, I can't get rid of it. It's just a stylistic decision, became part of his brand. So it kind of reminds me of we were talking about staying that consistency on that right there.
Well,
I always thought it was a funny story.
I tried to work through several different types of books. Now, I listen on and off. I haven't finished it, but the 48 Laws of Power. And that's one of the things that they talk about in one of the laws. I don't remember which one it is, but they talk about unique things about a person that people can consistently remember, whether that's their size, whether that's their stature, whatever that might be, and how most people associate that with a bad thing, but eventually it becomes your trademark, and then you can't get rid of it. So I know there was one realtor at one time that was kind of picking fun at me and saying he was the no tie guy because I was the only one that wore a tie in our local area. We're kind of a rural area, and there's not as many.
There was a guy who wore a tie before you started, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that Dominic Gill?
It was Dominic Gill.
That's right.
But it wasn't wearing out of a branding thing. It was a pride thing. But
Yeah.
I've shared the story before.
You have. Well, I mean, for me, it was about looking different than everybody else,
Right.
because people would constantly see realtors come in, and in a more urban area, there are higher price listings, things like that. A lot of people would see that, and the standard is the tie.
Right.
I would probably go opposite in that case. I would try and stand out in a different way, but the tie was the thing that set me apart, because nobody wanted to wear one. They wear collared shirts and slacks and things like that. I would go almost full suit. I wouldn't have a jacket sometimes, but that was a way that it differentiated me from everybody else that was a realtor that was a 5'8" white guy in the South. You know, there's not a whole lot of distinction there. I look like every other person, so that was a way for me to do that. So anyways, so I've shifted from that. Obviously, I'm trying to wear different clothing, have a different feel. And I think there's different attire for different segments or different seasons of your life, too. I would go there.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, actually, my first sales job I've had, I went to work and I was selling pole barns, pole barn packages.
Yep.
So I went out first day on the job, got with my supervisor or my boss, and I'm wearing khaki pants, button-up shirt, solid button-up shirt, no tie. But I went in there dressed like that, because I thought, hey, that's just trying to represent professionalism. He looked at me, he's like, go home and change. He's like, I want you to wear blue jeans. He's like, do you have any plaid? He's like, do you have a plaid shirt? And I said, I do. He's like, yeah, go home. Put on, you got work boots? Like, yeah. He's like, put on work boots, plaid shirt, and blue jeans. He's like, that's your sales uniform. I was like, okay. He's like, we're meeting with old farmers. He's like, he's like, you come in here, you dressing like that, they're going to shut you at the door. They're not going to even talk to you. And so actually had one customer down the road tell me, he's like, well, I was half expecting some slicked up city feller coming in here.
No, yeah.
He's like, but you're more down to earth. And so I was like, wow, he was actually right. But of course, look, hindsight's 2020. Of course, he was right. He knew the business. I didn't.
Oh yeah.
And I was a little bit disappointed that I couldn't dress up to be a big time pole barn salesman.
Well, but what I'll say about that is I think that you can pull off both. It's just how you present yourself. Mm-hmm. You can connect. And one thing that I did on a regular basis, it wasn't the intention, but it did work, was I let folks know that if you're going to make a big decision, then I'm going to dress up for that big decision.
Absolutely,
Just like church, I would relate to church or other things, and that's the way that I would go about it, and people would connect. But I also led with some other things which brought about trust, and this is something that if you can find this as a salesman, it's important, which is bridging that gap immediately for trust. So I would bring up the fact that I was in military law enforcement, and so my job was protecting them before. So now I'm protecting their interest in real estate. And it was an easy transition for people to say, yes, this clean-cut guy served us already. I'm going to trust him. And then they actually got to know what I knew about real estate. And it's like, holy cow, it just makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. So that was a way to bring the barrier down. Did I sell every house? No, absolutely not. Did I sell every customer? No. But that
no realtor has.
That's right.
Unless they had a career of only one house that they sold. And
very true.
I'm sure there are those out there
very
as well.
True. Yeah. So I mean, I think that you can play that either way. I agree. I tell folks all the time that when I pull up in my pickup truck, which is a fairly expensive truck for the area, that contractors charge me 30% more as soon as they see me pull up in that truck. And so when I go meet with contractors, typically I pull up in my Yaris that was my wife's when she was 18, or I have a beater van or something like that. And it's funny to see the differences in, and the people that know me, obviously they know, but if it's a new contractor, I'm not pulling up in that brand new truck that's just been shined with my shiny shoes on. I'm typically going to pull up in something that's going to be a little less pretentious. And I've seen success with that. I learned that from a good friend of mine and actually family relative, Edgar Weigel. Edgar has done really well in real estate over the past 40, 50 years. And part of his success is his frugalness. He's one of those frugal Germans. Makes sure he takes care, watches every penny. He pays he goes to Scooters and then he has his exact change every time. He's that kind of guy. He's not swiping on a credit card. He's keeping up with all that stuff. And so he taught me that early on. He said, when you are pretentious or when you show that stuff, whether it's a good truck and it's what you use or not, there's automatically a bump in what they're going to charge you or who they're going to talk to. Not everybody, but I think that overall you're going to see people treat you differently based off of that. And that's just life. I mean, it does. If you're a 6'8" guy, the first thing they're going to say is, "Oh, I bet you play basketball." You know, if you're muscled up, they're going to say, "Oh, do you do a lot of weightlifting?" I mean, it's just simple things that we take, we perceive, and then we project a stereotype. Right?
Absolutely. Not a kind of in a similar vein. My wife probably won't appreciate me sharing this story. I've always tried to. I have a very, very large family by today's standards. You know, when it goes out, there's 10 of us that go out. Me and my wife and my 8 children.
Sure.
We all go out. And I've always tried to make it a point to, when we go out, that they're presentable. I don't want people looking at us like, and again, I really don't care what people think, but I don't want people to think,
pride, sure.
I don't want people to think right? that they're being deprived or whatever, that, hey, this is what a perfectly functioning large family looks like. They're not a bunch of weird kids who can't, they still do that stuff. They don't know how to walk away from each other. They all move in packs. They go back and forth. Anyways, so we leave early to go to visit in-laws in South Louisiana. And so it was really, really early in the morning, and all the kids are still in their pajamas. They all have bedhead or whatever. And my wife, I think she was expecting our 8th child. It wasn't that long ago. So she wasn't feeling good. She's like, Dominic, she's like, we have to stop and we have to get something to eat. And normally I'm like, when we look like this, I ain't getting out. We're eating in the van. Yeah. She's like, I have to get out of this van. We have to get out. So pile all the kids, getting them out. They're all got bedhead, pajama pants on, and we're going into this truck stop McDonald's. Oh yeah. And we're just kind of in there. I'm looking around. These people never see me again ever in my life. Sure. But I'm still kind of worried about it, and I was like, whatever, just move on. It's pride. Just let's just get through this. So go through with my big order and stuff. And so we're all sitting down to eat, and kids doing what kids do. They get a little whiny, and just kind of like, shh, be quiet. Next thing you know, this old man comes up to me and he hands me $50. I looked at him. I was like, sir, I promise you. I was like, I promise you. It's like, we're very well taken care of. And then my wife just starts smiling because I'm hating this. Sure. Like, absolutely hating it. Like, I don't, but in my mind, a Franciscan friar once told me, is like, it's a sin against charity to refuse charity. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So now, for the love of Jesus, I will take this money. And so, I was fuming all the way. We still had another 5 or 6 hours left of the drive. I was angry the entire time.
So now Dominic actually has cardboard signs in his car.
So we never got out of the car again.
A little tin cup that they rattle as they walk through.
No, I got my wife a vomit bag. I was like, next time. I was like, you ain't getting out.
I can relate to that. I mean, it's a similar scenario. I'd come home from work, and I think I was actually doing repairs of the house, which rarely ever happens, right? I'm not great at repairs. I've got a team for that are much more skilled than I am. But I was in real estate. I was doing pretty well. I was working at the sheriff's office. And if you know me, you'll know that a lot of times I'll pick up a sweatshirt from the thrift store or just random warm clothes. I actually like those. I'll pick up a school that I didn't go to. I just find good deals, and typically they're well worn. I like buying them. Maybe it's just kind of going back to my roots on that side. And so I was dressed fairly homely, just kind of, I had some stains on my pants and stuff like that. And we were going through Walmart, and it was me, and we had 2 kids then, me and my wife and our 2 kids. And the first thing that the lady asked me was, she said, "I'm sorry, we don't take EBT." And I was like, I've got $2,000 in my wallet right now. I don't need that for this $40 worth of groceries. But it is interesting. I mean, I know it wasn't ill-intentioned. She was just trying to direct me to the right line.
You were prejudged.
But I was prejudged.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. But then I thought, you know what? It is what it is. I understand that I look the way I look, but that doesn't mean that I can't afford my stuff. And if you know anything else about me, you know that I'm pretty adamant about not using government welfare programs if I can work. Like, I had the opportunity when I came back from Iraq. I served, I came back, and I can't say that people thought I was a risk as far as PTSD and stuff goes, but I couldn't get hired anywhere. I was almost finished with my 4-year degree. I had a lot of experience in several different fields, and nobody would hire me for a manual labor job. I didn't want to go in the field that I was in. I just wanted to go in and work, earn a good living, and work on some other things in my life. Nobody would hire me. And so my father-in-law, he said, hey, you're the reason I pay unemployment. You're the reason I pay for these welfare programs for guys that can't get work when they come back. And I just told him, I said, I will go flip burgers somewhere. I will go do whatever job I have to do before I have to do that. If I can't work, that's a different story. If my family's starving, that's a different story. But I'm going to find a way, if it's a day paid job, in order to take care of myself. I'm not going to lay up on the couch.
Yeah, you'll make personal sacrifices before
That's right.
you'll take. Before you'll
pride sacrifices.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I've worked at chicken houses before. I picked up dead chickens and put them through the incinerator. I've worked for pulpwood. I've had guys that I've logged with before. I've done some pretty gross stuff before for work, and it was just work. I mean, it was the thing that I needed to do at that time. At one point, I was working with a guy that was my stepdad, and we were tearing apart air conditioners, and we were basically
hopefully legally
scrap metal. So yeah, that's so a lot of guys do that. We're not doing it legally. We were doing it legally, but we were separating copper and stuff like that, legally separating copper. And it was just work for me, so I don't mind working. Right. But for somebody to tell me, hey, the EBT line's over there, it burned me up because. So I understand where you're coming from on that. So today we've kind of had a free for all as far as our content goes. We're coming up. We got about 4 or 5 more minutes. I appreciate all you guys for listening. If you're listening to us on WKUL, if you're not, we do come on WKUL here in the North Alabama area, 92.1. 9:30 on Saturdays. We'd love to have you listen in there. Support us. Also, check us out on YouTube and all our other platforms. Just search us. I'm pretty easy to find on that side. And for those of you that don't know, I'm in the real estate business in the sense that we do real estate development. We do fix and flip houses. And our big thing is cleaning up our community. So if you're in the North Alabama area, Coleman, Morgan, Blount County, Madison County, Limestone County, and you know of some houses that need to get fixed up and nobody seems to know how to fix it or solve that problem, please give us a call. Please reach out. Please comment. We've had so many people reach out that see a house that's a crack house. It's a trap house. It's where drugs are being done, prostitution's happening, and they call us, and then we figure out a way to work with local law enforcement, to work with local attorneys to get these places cleaned up. We fix them up, we clean them out, and then we end up selling them to a family so they have a good home in the end. So I just want to give that quick plug. We also have a company that does construction, 10X Enterprises. If you're looking for a job to be done, whether that's and Dominic can attest to that. We've done some work for Dominic. Whether you're looking for somebody to help you with doing an addition, whether that's roof work, whether that's plumbing. We actually have a licensed home builder that is Dominic's brother, Francis. He does great work for us, and intelligent, incredible guy. We've got a great team of about 12 guys total that we can do any kind of work. So if you didn't know, those are some of the ways that you can support us. Dominic, what about on the social media side? How can people support you if they're getting value from the content we're bringing? We don't charge for the content, obviously.
No, obviously. Basically, you can reach out to me. You can go and reach out to my business, which is socialmediavisuals.com. Feel free to message us there, or you can email me at dgill@socialmediavisual.com. Be happy to answer any questions when it comes down to social media in general. I do coaching, consulting, content strategy planning, and then also we do a full service for businesses to go and operate their social media accounts, whether it's from producing content, running advertisement. We pride ourselves in having high quality content that's Meta approved, basically saying we want to make sure that we're hitting all the best practices of Meta for Meta so that you get the most out of your content, the highest amount of conversions, and the most amount of reach while making your business shine in a new light with professional content. So we're still growing on this on that side of the business. Been having absolutely great results for our clients. It's been exciting.
Yeah, so Dominic got put on the spot there. He wasn't ready for the elevator pitch time. Like I said, we're just shooting from the hip. I thought he did a great job.
I left that pamphlet at home. So if you want a pamphlet.
So 3 types of business, 3 people that you've helped before, because a lot of times people say social media counseling or consulting. I mean, there's so much there. Who are 3 types of businesses that you have helped before? Or what are 3 types of businesses?
Sales, service, and sales and service are probably the top 2.
So real estate agents, you've worked with car dealerships, you've worked with just kind of give me a few.
Okay, gotcha.
I want to be more specific because a lot of people don't know what they need.
Absolutely. So anytime whenever it comes down to in real estate, obviously my biggest amount of expertise lies within the auto industry and in real estate, just because I've had the most experience in that areas. But I've also gone and helped promote people who have services, whether it's in lawn care, whether it's they're servicing bounty houses, not service, or providing bounty house rental services, whether they're trying to go promote a specific product that they're trying to go put out there. If you have an idea for a product and have a way that you're ready to distribution, we can find the right customer for your product so that we can actually get that distribution out there for you. Gives you the proper resources so that you can learn how to convert, what technologies need to be used. And again, if it's one of those things where you really can't, you're a small business and you really can't afford a full-time service for that right there, we offer consulting so that you can understand what you can do for yourself. For those of you who don't have the ability to delegate, we want to go and make sure that we're giving you the proper resources and building out a strategy and a plan.
Absolutely.
So that you can actually still succeed in the business. And then our hope is that eventually you will be successful enough by using our strategies to where you'll be like, hey, you know what? I want you to take over. Let me focus on my business.
Right.
So that we can and let you handle that stuff, because everything you've helped us get, every place that we've gotten because of the advice. So now we don't want the advice, we want the service.
Sure. So we're going to finish up in just a second on the radio portion. I don't have a whole bunch on the other side today, so I think we'll probably just do the radio portion. So Dominic, if anybody has been listening for almost 30 minutes on the YouTube, they probably support us, right?
God bless you.
So what can they do to help us besides just sharing? Can they leave reviews? Can they? I don't know what all platforms we're on. I just show up and speak, and Dominic does all the actual work.
Right.
So what can they do to help us? Comment?
Absolutely. So we're probably going to start doing a few different giveaways down the road for the YouTube followers and stuff. But we like to go and build that subscriber base, trying to go and gain a lot of the footing on what we're trying to do right now. Building out a YouTube channel is got its own unique challenges. So one thing I would say is please comment if you're getting any value out of this. You know, and one of the things and this is all impromptu right here, please, if you have any suggestions on topics or that you would like us to talk about, absolutely, to help, you know, that you feel like, or any specific guests that you would like for us to bring on in a certain topic. Or hey, if you want to be a guest yourself, you know, we're here we're here to shine some light on some things.
So we definitely want you to comment. We want you to engage. We want to add value. We want to help good people get to a better place. We want to clean up our community, and we want to finish up the show. So thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you guys. Please subscribe to our channel and check us out. And we hope you have a great day.